Let me start with a slightly uncomfortable truth. Some of the best coders I have worked with were also some of the worst system designers. They wrote beautiful code, clean, testable, and elegant, and yet their systems fell apart in production. If that sounds confusing, good, because today we're going to untangle exactly why that happens. By the end of this video, you'll clearly understand the difference between writing code and designing systems, why being good at one doesn't automatically make you good at other, and how to start thinking like a system designer, even if you're still a junior or mid-level developer. This is one of those shifts that quietly takes people from good developer to great developer. And in a few minutes, I'll give you simple mental model that you can apply to every single project you work on starting today. Let's start with writing code. Writing code is about instructions. You're telling the computer, do this, then do that, handle this condition, return the result. It's very local thinking. You're more focused on the function, the class, the file, the bug. And don't get me wrong, this matters. Well, a lot. But here's the key idea. Writing code is about correctness. Does it work? Does the test pass? Does it do what I asked it to do? And so on. Think of it like cooking. Writing code is knowing how to chop vegetables properly, season food well, and cook pasta without turning it into glue. Important skills, essential skills, but knowing how to cook doesn't mean that you're ready to open a restaurant. And that's where system design comes in. Designing systems is not about instructions, it's about decisions. Decisions like where does the logic live? What happens when a system fails? How does this scale when usage doubles? What do we not build yet? System design is zoomed out thinking. You're no longer staring at a function. You're thinking in the terms of component boundaries, data flows, failure models, and trade-offs. And here's the big difference. System design is about change. Not does this work properly, but what happens when it inevitably changes. Back to the restaurant example. System design is deciding, do we need one kitchen or two? What happens when it's a Friday night rush? Where does the food get delayed if something breaks? And can a new chef join without chaos? Notice something? None of them is about how well you chop onions. Now here's the mistake that keeps a lot of developers stuck. Most developers assume if I write clean code, the system will be clean. That's unfortunately not true. You can have perfectly written classes, great naming, solid tests, and still end up with tight coupling, fragile deployments, and changes that break unrelated features. Why? Because local perfection does not create global stability. Systems fail at the boundaries, not inside your nicely written function. So, how do you actually start thinking like a system designer? Here's the mental model that I promised earlier. When writing code, you ask, how do I implement this? When designing systems, you ask, where does this responsibility belong? And even more importantly, what happens when this goes wrong? Every time you add a new feature, pause and ask, if this fails, what breaks? If traffic spikes, what bends first? If requirements change, what hurts the most? That pause, that hesitation is system design. You don't need to design massive distributed systems to practice this. Start small. Notice when you are duplicating logic. Pay attention to how many places you need to change for one feature to work. Watch which bugs keep coming back. Those are system smells. Your job isn't to eliminate them overnight. It's to start noticing them. So let's bring it all together. Writing code is about making things work, being precise, solving immediate problems. Designing systems is about managing change, handling failures, and making future work cheaper. Great developers do both, but not at the same time and not in the same way. If you want to grow in your career, Stop asking only, is my code clean? Start asking, is my system resilient? If this helped you to see your work differently, give it a like. It tells the algorithm and me that this kind of content is useful. And if you want more videos that help you think like a senior developer, not just code like one, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.